Every morning you drink from a pipe. You don't think about it. You've been told it's clean. But in 1906, a government chemist discovered something that should have changed everything. And it did, until the plastic industry made sure it wouldn't. What if the water running through your home right now carries something that copper would have destroyed for free? What if the switch from copper to plastic had nothing to do with safety, and everything to do with money? Copper has been purifying water for over 4,000 years. Thus, ancient Egyptians stored their drinking water in copper vessels, not because it looked beautiful, because they noticed something. People who drank from copper stayed healthier. People who drank from clay, from wood, from animal skin, they got sick. The Egyptians didn't have a word for bacteria, but they had copper. Sanskrit texts from 2000 BC describe copper as medicine. They called the practice tamra jal, copper water. Ayurvedic physicians prescribed it for digestion, for immunity, for longevity. They instructed patients to store water overnight in a pure copper vessel and drink it first thing in the morning, on an empty stomach. This was not folklore. This was a medical prescription, written down, passed down, practiced for 2,000 years. Ancient Rome built its empire partly on water, the aqueducts, the baths, the fountains. And here is something the textbooks quietly skip over. Roman engineers knew the difference between metals. They used lead for large distribution pipes, a decision that likely contributed to the slow poisoning of their population. But for drinking vessels, for the water that went directly into the body, they used copper and bronze. Roman physicians documented the difference. They knew lead made people sick. They knew copper kept water clean. The engineering class ignored the medical class, and Rome fell. Then in 1973, researchers at the University of Southampton finally put a name to what these civilizations had practiced for millennia. They called it the Oligodynamic Effect, the ability of certain metals, especially copper, to destroy bacteria, viruses, and fungi simply by contact. No chemicals, no electricity, no filters. Just metal, water, and time. A copper surface kills E. coli in under 4 hours. It kills MRSA, a bacteria that survives on plastic for weeks, in 90 minutes. Salmonella, Legionella, Staph. All of them destroyed by contact with copper alone. During COVID-19, researchers tested the virus on multiple surfaces. On plastic, it survived up to 3 days. On copper, it was dead in 4 hours. The same virus, the same conditions, a completely different outcome because of the material. 4,000 years of human practice confirmed in a modern laboratory. So why don't we use it anymore? So in 1945, when American construction needed a cheap alternative to copper, the industry had a ready answer. Millions of returning soldiers needed houses. The construction boom was unlike anything the country had seen before. Copper prices had surged during the war, and right on time, a new material appeared. PVC plastic pipe. Lightweight, cheap to manufacture, easy to cut, easy to join, easy to install. Contractors loved it. Developers loved it. And by the 1960s, plastic pipe was standard in American construction. What they didn't tell the families moving into those new homes, PVC pipes leach vinyl chloride into water. Vinyl chloride is a known human carcinogen. The EPA confirmed it in 1975. Studies through the 1980s linked vinyl chloride exposure to elevated rates of liver cancer in workers who handled PVC regularly. A 2019 study published in the journal Environmental Science and Technology found that plastic pipes in contact with drinking water release hundreds of chemical compounds, many of them completely unregulated, many of them entirely unstudied. Nobody sent a letter. Nobody issued a recall. The pipes stayed in the walls, and the copper that had purified water for 4 millennia was quietly classified as expensive, outdated, and unnecessary. Meanwhile, the copper pipe installed in your grandparents' home in 1952 was still silently killing every pathogen that touched it, for free, every single day. Here is what actually happens when water contacts copper. Copper atoms release positively charged ions into the water. These ions are attracted to the negatively charged cell walls of bacteria and microorganisms. They penetrate the membrane. They disrupt the enzymes the cell needs to function and reproduce. They essentially short-circuit the organism at a molecular level, and the cell dies. What makes this remarkable is not just that it works, it's that bacteria cannot adapt to it. Antibiotic resistance is one of the greatest health crises of the 21st century. Bacteria evolving faster than we can develop drugs to stop them. But copper is not a chemical. It is a physical force, and living organisms cannot evolve to survive physics. MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, is resistant to most antibiotics. It kills tens of thousands of Americans every year. It can survive on a plastic surface for weeks. On a copper surface, it is dead within 90 minutes. A 2020 study published in Infection Control and Hospital Epidemiology placed copper surfaces in hospital rooms in place of standard plastic and stainless steel. Infection rates dropped by 58%, in a hospital, with copper, and then nothing changed, because there is no subscription model for copper. You buy a copper pipe once. It lasts a century. There is no filter cartridge to replace every 3 months, no annual maintenance contract, no proprietary system that requires certified technicians. You cannot build a recurring revenue business around a metal that works forever on its own. So the industry did not scale it. They scaled what they could charge you for repeatedly. Now here is what you can actually do about this. Starting today, without touching your plumbing. The simplest method requires nothing more than a copper vessel. A pure copper jug, widely available for between $15 and $40, left filled with water overnight, produces what researchers call copper-charged water. A 2012 study published in the Journal of Health, Population, and Nutrition tested this exact method using contaminated river water stored in copper vessels for 16 hours. Microbial contamination dropped by 97%, not filtered, not boiled, just stored in copper overnight. The second method is what some off-grid builders and homesteaders have started doing quietly, adding a copper coil section inline in their water line, before the tap. A simple loop of copper tubing installed between the main water entry and the first fixture in the house. The water passes through copper on its way to every faucet. It requires no electricity, no replacement parts, no ongoing cost. Once installed, it runs for the life of the home. The third method is the one your contractor will never suggest. If you are building a home, renovating a bathroom, or replacing any plumbing, ask specifically for Type L copper pipe for your water lines. Every plumber knows what it is. It is available at every hardware store. It costs more upfront than plastic. And it will still be functioning, still be purifying, still be protecting the water your family drinks 100 years from now. Your grandparents did not have a Brita filter under the sink. They did not have a reverse osmosis system. They did not subscribe to bottled water delivery. They had copper pipes in the walls, copper pots on the stove, and copper vessels in the pantry. And the industry spent 50 years making sure you forgot why. If this is the kind of knowledge that used to be common, subscribe. Next week we go underground. Ancient civilizations stored water for years without pumps, without electricity, without chemicals, and the technique is quietly illegal in 9 U.S. states today. Leave a comment. Copper pipes or plastic? I want to know what we're dealing with out there.